Okay, I thought I would make a video real quick while the girlfriend is making fajitas. But yeah, these are Beats headphones, and they are known as bass cannons. They're very warm and boomy. I was actually surprised by how good these sound. They don't sound as natural in the treble as the DT990s, but the DT990s need a powerful amp or they don't sound good at all. So yeah, it's kind of funny. You know, it depends on how you connect the headphone a lot of times if it's going to sound good or not. You don't need like a very specific amp, but yeah, there's a lot of dogs. Luckily, I'm not making ASMR videos currently. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, you know, if you look at the frequency response measurements for these buds, these Beats, these are actually, I forgot, Beats Solo 3. Beats Solo 3. Very popular. I think they came out with a couple of versions when I looked these up. But yeah, they sound pretty good. And the DT990s need a pretty decent amp to sound good. Otherwise, they sound kind of bad, I'll be honest. But yeah, bass cannons. But by bass cannons are pretty impressive. Like if you look online, people say, "Oh, these are too bassy." Too bassy. Bass cannons, bass cannons. These actually roll off the sub bass, the microphones. They roll off everything below 75 hertz, so they get rid of low end rumble that you don't necessarily need for the human voice. But when you're making ASMR videos and rubbing the microphones and getting very intimate, I think that boominess is actually a benefit. So yeah, you know, guys like quarters. It's a quarter. What the hell? That's an interesting tails design. Anyways. So yeah, we actually had fajitas yesterday from a fancy restaurant. But now we're having some more fajitas. But yesterday, like, we had a lot of rice, beans, tortillas, cheese, which is not very diet friendly. So we're making homemade fajitas, you know, just a lot of chicken and peppers and onions. So, you know, a lot less carbs, a lot less calories, basically lean meat, fajita seasoning, peppers. So a lot healthier if you're trying to lose weight. I actually had a strawberry banana milkshake, a strawberry banana smoothie today, as well as some boba. Just really wanted to try this particular strawberry banana drink because when I used to go to the mall, they had like a really good one when I was growing up as a kid. So I want to try another strawberry banana smoothie from, you know, a restaurant, a boba restaurant. And honestly, it tasted very, very similar to the one that I was addicted to as a kid growing up, but it was a lot. They give you a lot. So I think it kind of made me a little bit sick feeling. So yeah, I did work out this morning. So yeah, if you look up these headphones, people be like, "Oh, the Sennheiser HD600 sounds so much more transparent." These are just boomy bass cannons. You know, only noobs like bass, but honestly, you need a 10 decibel bass boost, especially in the sub bass, because the human ear is not very sensitive to bass unless you crank up the loudness. So the louder the headphone, you know, the listening level, the less bass boosting you actually need. But if you're listening to audio at a fairly low level, like 75 decibels or lower, you know, a nice bass boost of like 10 decibels, a nice warm boomy bass boost is just really nice too. So these are warm and boomy, arguably, you know, a little bit too boomy, but it's very impressive to a lot of people to have a bass cannon Again, studio monitors, unless you have a big woofer, do not extend very far into the sub bass, especially like below 50 hertz, which is typically why a lot of people get a subwoofer that picks up where the studio monitor leaves off. So either you get like a studio monitor with a huge woofer that can basically be a subwoofer because it's so big, or you have to buy a separate subwoofer for those low-end rumbles. So headphones, there has always been an argument, are headphones as good as studio monitors? And with the Biodynamic DT990s, I think these measure the most transparently, the most well-tuned. So it's like, they image like a studio monitor, these headphones. But like I said, you need a good audio interface with a good amp. But even on my cheap computer, I have like a fairly good motherboard that has a good DAC amp, a good amp, headphone amp. So I can actually connect these to the back of my computer headphone jack on the motherboard, and it actually sounds really good. Pretty much exactly the same as my Motu M2 audio interface headphone jack, which has like a Sabre, DAC amp, or something is supposed to be really good. They sound pretty much identical. So, but like, if I connected these to the back of a TV or something, yeah, then they sound like complete garbage. And you might as well get a lower ohm headphone like the Ship 9500s, which I think are, I forgot the ohm, you can go on the website, but 250 ohm. Some people think if you get the 600 ohm or the premium edition of these headphones, then they're going to sound even better. If you get the premium edition, they actually have like a metal bigger cup. You can see this is plastic, it's like a ring. And so there's not much room in these ear cups to give like a room-like sound. Like if you get the premium edition, they have these bigger, rounder metal cups, ear cups, which is like a small room. It's kind of, the sound reflects throughout the ear cup, which makes it, like you have a bigger sound stage. So sound stage is technically a 3 kilohertz scoop on the frequency response where the ear is most sensitive to. It's called the ear gain. And if you scoop that out, the presence region around 3K, it'll sound wider. So if you scoop it out, so it'll sound in your head, but if you scoop it out, it'll sound wider. And if the ear cup, has some room for the sound to reflect throughout the ear cup, especially in the bass, I noticed on the premium edition, it really sounds more room-like. But the treble doesn't sound as natural on the premium edition, and that includes the 600 ohms. So the Pro edition, DT990 Pro, it has the cleaner treble and high mids, and if you have silver pads, they sound better than the black pads, believe it or not. The pad color does change the sound. I also have I have another chair in here, which is the Secret Lab chair. This is considered like one of the best chairs to get, Secret Lab. It's not very ergonomic. It has a very flat backrest, a very flat seat. So I prefer the Razer gaming chair that I'm using. I think it's much more ergonomic and comfortable. It's called the Razer Inky. The Razer Inky. I think it feels amazing. You sit in this chair and it feels, amazing. You forget that you're sitting in a chair. So the Secret Lab chairs are like really popular, but honestly, I don't like them. That's the 2022 edition. It does technically have a lumbar support,